Hello everyone, it's me Maya and welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to do a recommendations video. So as you know, I've become a little Broadway obsessed since the 71st annual Tony Awards last weekend, and I decided I wanted to do a recommendation video inspired by some of my favorite Broadway musicals. So I have a stack of books to my right here that made me think of some of my favorite musicals, and I'm going to share them with you. And if you liked a certain musical, you might like these books as well. So the first one is Hamilton. Now, if you haven't heard the story of the plucky immigrant that takes the New World by storm, you've got to go see it. I personally haven't seen it, but I know a lot of it, and I've listened to the soundtrack at least 50 times already. But if you would like a book recommendation inspired by Hamilton, try reading Hamilton the Revolution by Lin-Manuel Miranda and Jeremy McCarter. This tells the story of the musical as well as Hamilton's life. It tells about the creation of the musical and how that kind of paralleled with Hamilton's life as well as Lin-Manuel Miranda's life. So it's a cool parallel. It's a cool sort of like tome as far as like any Hamilton fanatic would really enjoy that. But if you're looking more for like a book recommendation, I have Sherlock Holmes. Now, why did Hamilton inspire a Sherlock Holmes recommendation? Well, you will have we'll say it like that, you'll have a very arrogant upstart or an individual whose arrogance is ultimately his undoing, and this can definitely be seen in Sherlock Holmes as well. Sherlock Holmes was a brilliant detective, but he kind of thought he was too big to fall as well as Hamilton, and these books are kind of like definitely err on the side of caution. You're not too big, but it's okay to be brilliant, you're just not too full of yourself. If Sherlock Holmes is a little too overwhelming for you, definitely check out the graphic novel series, which is the graphic novel of each of the Sherlock Holmes mysteries. So if this is too overwhelming, check out this. The next one is Legally Blonde, the musical. Legally Blonde, you know this one. The perky cheerleader type goes to Harvard to chase after her boyfriend. She's one of those heroines that are often overlooked because of her appearance, and she ends up taking Harvard by storm and winning her case. This musical reminded me of another book where the heroine was also sorely underestimated, and that is Meg Cabot's Avalon High. Elle seems to be just this random chick in this story, but she ends up playing a bigger part in the overall story than anyone could have really imagined. And it's bonus because it's pink. And everyone knows that Elle Woods' favorite color is pink. And I also just noticed that this main character is Ellie. The main character in Legally Blonde the musical is Elle. It's a perfect recommendation. The next one is Dear Evan Hansen, the musical. Now, that musical will make you cry buckets. Of course, I've also never seen it, but the streaming of the cast album is enough for me. And in that musical, Evan finds himself thrust into the spotlight from claiming a friendship that he didn't actually have. That's the best way to put it. And he ends up becoming this unsung hero of the forgotten, and people tend to look for him for the closure. And another story of an unlikely hero is The Unlikely Hero of Room 13B by Teresa Toten. Both characters are dealing with a mental illness. Evan Hansen has social anxiety disorder. Our main character, Adam, has OCD. So both of these people who have these disorders and who are overcome these disorders kind of in their own way become heroes from what they say, what they do, and how they help the people that are around them. All right. Next is Shrek the musical. If you saw the movie, which was at least 10-15 years ago, you'll have this grumpy ogre who just wants to be left alone, but then people start to get to know them, and then you kind of realize that he wants love, and he wants to be a hero, and he just wants more than meets the eye, just like everyone else. So a couple of books that fit that characteristic. First, we have Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. This one is a definite, no one is what they seem. An ogre might be a prince, and a princess might not be who she says she is. And in this one, are we good or are we evil? Is anyone really who they say they are? And I think you can definitely see that in Nimona as well as Shrek, because Shrek, by appearances, looks like an evil beast, but he's really a sweetheart. And Nimona, who looks like this unassuming little kid, is a powerful shapeshifter, and she might be something else. Another book that is sort of Shrek-inspired is Far, Far Away. This is definitely a no one is who they say they are type of novel, where you kind of try to figure out who is the good guy and who is the bad guy, much like Nimona. This one is definitely a favorite of mine because you will think you know what's going to happen and you don't. You don't. Same thing with Shrek. You think you know, but I don't think you do. So it's definitely also focused on an outcast, much like Shrek, who just wants acceptance, but they learn throughout the story that true acceptance, Nimona as well, they all learn that what they really need to do is accept themselves, and by that, they get the acceptance of their peers, if that's what they really want. Alright, we've got 2 more left. The next one up is Rent. Now, Rent, my first favorite musical of all time. I saw it when it came out in 2006, and then I was able to get the DVD of the musical that they taped for the last performance. So Rent has a very special place in my heart, and I see this as a story of a group of friends learning how to survive in troubling times while there's so much at them that wants to take them apart. And the book that I have that makes me think of that is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. We also have a group of friends that are trying to work together, that are trying to fight to survive, but also trying to learn how they work within the group. Some of the friends don't get along, and some of the friends really have to learn how to be friends and try to get past their past as well, which is something that you also see in Rent, and just trying to learning like, okay, how to survive, how do we measure our lives, like what's most important, is it just only about the money, or can we measure it all in love? You saw what I did there, didn't you? Yeah, you did. Okay. The last one is The Color Purple. Now, if you know anything about The Color Purple, whether you've seen the movie or the musical, it's about this girl who's been abused by so much, and she learns to find her voice, and she learns how to overcome it. Another similar story that I found was from Cinder. Now, of course, you see that Celie was not a part cyborg, but if you look at it, break down it into its elements of a girl that's been abused, that learns how to overcome the abuse and kind of find her own way and find her own voice, then you'll see that the 2 stories are very similar, and this girl ends up being queen, and in Celie, she finds her family and she finds the love that she's always wanted. Cinder also finds the love that she's always wanted, so you can kind of see how the 2 are similar. And they're really good stories. So that's all from me. I hope you have enjoyed these recommendations. I'll leave them all in the description box below. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you would like more of these videos, please hit that subscribe button, hit like for more, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys!